2 Radiation Dock. And by Honda, great deals are on at the Honda Summer Clearance event. Well, the roof is closed here at Rogers Center. The Blue Jays have taken the field, and we'll take a look at the Yankees starting lineup that will face David Price. And the starting lineup, as always, is presented by Lexus. Yankees will lead off their center fielder, Jacoby Ellsbury. In left field, it's Brett Gardner batting second. Hitting third and DHing, Alex Rodriguez. Mark Teixeira at first base will clean up, batting fifth and catching Brian McCann. Chase Headley at third base will bat sixth, batting seventh playing right field Chris Young. D.D. Gregorius, the shortstop, he'll bat eighth and batting ninth, and playing second base is Brendan Ryan.
And that lineup will be facing this man, David Price, who gets his third start for the Toronto Blue Jays since coming over from the Detroit Tigers. Let's take a look at his numbers on the year, and then once again they're outstanding. This will be his 24th start. 11-4 record. You see the rest of the numbers. Let's check out our pitcher scouting report brought to you by your Tri Honda dealers. Right away, let's make a deal. Price is Right would have been too easy, so let's go with let's make a deal. 2 years ago, or last year, traded from Tampa Bay to Detroit. This year, Detroit to Toronto. The next deal will be on his own terms. He's a free agent at the end of the year. Since he's come here, 1 run in 15 innings. And David Cone. Back in 1992, the Blue Jays made another trade for David. And let's say they would not have won the World Series without picking David Cone up in 1992.
Ellsbury's ready. Price is ready. Let's do it here in Toronto. And the first pitch is a strike. And we are underway. Andy Fletcher, the home plate ump. Jordan Baker at first. Paul Emmel at second. And Mark Wegner is over at third. Ellsbury has been slumping. Had a couple hits last night. But 7 hits in his last 50 at bats, as his average has tumbled to .264.
You're right, Michael. The Yankees have struggled up until last night. Last night, I think, served as a reminder they can still do it. They still can score runs. Price is a tough customer, though.
Now, one thing Joe Girardi said was key for this team today. They've got to make Price work. They can't give him outs early in the count. They've got to make him throw pitches and then foul off his good pitches and hit his mistakes. 1-2.
Well, Michael, we had a game earlier this year where the Yankees matched up against Felix Hernandez of the Seattle Mariners, and we said they had to keep the game close, and it was 1-1. It's not necessarily you have to beat David Price or Felix Hernandez. You have to beat the Blue Jays or the Mariners. That particular day, the Yankees beat the Mariners bullpen and won the game 2-1.
Well, things were going swimmingly for the Yankees until the Blue Jays came into town last weekend. They'd just taken 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays swept them. Then they went into Cleveland, and they lost 2 games, including a 16-inning heartbreaker. And they got off to Schneid yesterday with a victory, so they come into this series feeling a little better about themselves. The 1-2. Foul back again, making them work.
You know, one thing a leadoff hitter usually does when his repertoire is the fact he sees a lot of pitches. With David Price, he throws so many strikes, doesn't walk many batters, he makes you swing the bat. Jacoby Ellsbury is making him work by fouling pitches off.
Taking too much time, and Price takes the most time between pitches of any pitcher in baseball. Close to 26 seconds.
Yeah, these guys haven't worked too much together. You see Russell Martin and David Price still trying to get on the same page.
1-2. Again fouled away.
So, Michael, you're saying he would never beat the shot clock in the NBA?
No. He technically doesn't beat the clock here. It's supposed to be 20 seconds between pitches. Grounded to second. Goins is there. Price wins that battle. Let's take a look at the Blue Jays defense presented by Geico. You've got Revere in left, Pilar in center, and Bautista with that great arm is in right. In the infield, Donaldson, Tulowitzki, Goins, Smoke third to first. Russell Martin behind the plate, and David Price is on the mound.
Very good defense right there. Very underrated. Everybody talks about the Blue Jays offense, but that is well above average across the board on the defensive end.
Yeah, all the moves that they've made since the trade deadline, a lot of them have shored up their defense.
Pitch to Gardner. He's outside.
And you can start with Tulowitzki at shortstop. He has more range than Jose Reyes. Reyes, particularly going to his right, just didn't have it anymore. And Tulowitzki's an upgrade. Ben Revere in left field's an upgrade.
Fly ball, center field. Pilar to the second out. Let's look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. 72 degrees. Wind is 12 miles per hour. Doesn't really matter here. The roof is closed. And humidity is 88%. Outside it's mostly cloudy. When the roof is closed here, it really is hot. And you can see how Price is perspiring on the mound. And it just doesn't have any airflow at all in the dome.
And it is loud in here as well.
There's a strike to A-Rod. It's definitely a different feel this time around. I know, Kenny, thanks for the love in the scouting report, but back in '92, it was the first go-round for this fan base, and clearly they know what to expect now. They're anticipating the flow a little better.
Well, I don't know what the ticket upgrade was for you when you came here back in '92, but since they got Tulowitzki, they sold 500,000 tickets.
Well, they have the longest stretch without making the playoffs in professional sports right now.
I was watching A-Rod during batting practice, and lately he's, I wouldn't say he's tired, but his swing looks a little slower. It did in Cleveland. And during this streak where he slumped off a bit. But in batting practice, he put on a show here at the Rogers Center, hitting several shots. In fact, one straight away center field where a fan caught it up above that railing up there.
One, two. This is the loudest crowd that I could remember in the longest time here at Rogers Center. They actually sold out an afternoon game yesterday against the Oakland Athletics. 2-2. Driven into left center field. That's going to be trouble. It splits the outfielders, and it goes to the wall. Alex will coast into second with a 2-out double.
Well, it looked like some sort of off-speed pitch, maybe a changeup. Alex kept the hands back and really stroked this one nicely to the gap in left center. If he was able to stay back even more, he would hit this one out of the ballpark. But you see he's out in front, hands stay back just enough so he control the barrel of the bat, get the barrel onto the ball, and drive it into the gap in left center field for a two-base hit.
Here's Mark Teixeira. Mark, one hit in his last 10 at bats, 7 for 41. At 259 for the season. And there's a strike. Let's check out the Honda League leaders. This is the American League RBI leaders. Josh Donaldson of the Jays leads with 85. Then the Orioles, Chris Davis. The Royals, Kendrys Morales. Bautista of the Rays. And Mark Teixeira of the Yankees is fifth with 77. And in fairness to Mark Teixeira, the RBIs have stopped because guys in front of him aren't on.
That's a great point. You know, and Donaldson, too, at the top, his 85 RBIs really a kind of a byproduct of more opportunities. He's had a lot of base runners to work with. A great player.
The 0-2. 1-2.
You know, I'm aware of the fact that Teixeira likes to take the first pitch, but there's certain pitchers I think I wouldn't do that against, and Price is one of them. He throws so many strikes. All of a sudden, you're in the hole 0-1. You haven't swung the bat yet. So that means you don't have your timing down. You swing, you foul the next one back, and it's 0-2. So this is a guy I would go up there swinging the bat. Think he's throwing a strike. I'm hacking.
Just missed. Crowd wanted that one. Price wanted it.
Well, there must be 40,000 umpires here tonight.
See, Price is asking for the count there. As that ball is low, as Russell Martin does an outstanding job of holding that pitch right there. Well, that's some strong hands back there.
The 2-2. Grounded to third. Backing up is Donaldson. Fields, fires. They get to Shara. And that'll do it. No runs to hit. No errors and one man left. Yankees nothing and the Blue Jays coming to bat. Troy Tulowitzki, the shortstop, leads off, batting second. Playing third, Josh Donaldson. Jose Bautista in right field will hit third. Cleaning up the DH, Edwin Encarnacion. Justin Smoke, the first baseman, bats fifth. Batting sixth and catching, Russell Martin. Ryan Goins, the second baseman, bats seventh. Batting eighth, playing center field, Kevin Pillar. And Ben Revere's in left field. He's going to bat ninth.
28-year-old right-hander Ivan Nova pitching for the Yankees tonight. 4-3 in his career against the Toronto Blue Jays. He was the one that lost the Price on August the 8th at Yankee Stadium. Made really just one mistake in that game. He hung a curveball at Justin Smoke. Grand slam. There's his numbers on the year. 2-2 at home, 2-2 on the road. Let's check out our pitcher scatter report brought to you by your Tribe Honda dealers. Check out Nova early in the ball game. Remember, he's coming back from Tommy John surgery. If he has good movement on his fastball, 93, 94 miles per hour, and it's sinking, that's a good thing. If his curveball looks 12-6, breaking sharply, that's another good thing. If it's flat, he might not be around long. He threw a flat one to Smoke, he hit a home run. And I think going into this game, he knows there's a small margin for error. Blue Jays are an excellent scoring team, lead the major leagues in runs, but he's up there against Price. He can't give up too many.
Well, we really thank everybody for joining us here on Yes. It should be a fun weekend. So much at stake. Both teams fighting for first place. Yankees trying to slow down this Blue Jay locomotive. Big crowds here in the ballpark. You can feel the energy. Hope it's coming across on the TV as well as Tulowitzki fouls it back. 0-1.
I was talking to John Gibbons about Tulowitzki before the game, and he told Tulowitzki he wanted him to lead off. And when he was in Colorado, he was a 3-4 hitter. And he said, I've never done that before. He says, well, you know, you should be able to do it. He said, I'll do anything you want. That's Tulowitzki, and he's been the leadoff hitter here for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Fly ball, right field deep. Young is there, and he can't make the play in the corner, but it's a foul ball. First base umpire, Jordan Baker, said foul ball.
Now, Young thought that might have gone a little further than it actually did. Looked like he was going back to the wall to make a play at the wall. Instead, he looked up the last time and had to come over towards the line and come back for the ball. He's into the corner. Now he's coming back, and that definitely looks like it landed foul. So the Yankees caught a break right there, right from the start. That might have been a double or even a triple if it's fair.
Well, the Blue Jays are slowing things down because they're looking at the replay to see if they should challenge. But from what we just saw, it was indeed a foul ball. Tulowitzki, once he gets in the batter's box, they can no longer challenge. That's why he's strolling around.
Also talking to John Gibbons, he said Tulowitzki's not really hitting right now. He's only hitting .231 since coming to the Jays. But he said he's a major upgrade at shortstop. And the fans took to him right away in his second at bat as the Blue Jay hit a home run here.
And they're 13-0 when he's in the starting lineup. One game he didn't play, they lost that one to the Royals. And Nova deals the 0-2. 1-2. Brendan Ryan, the second baseman, shades up the middle for the righty swinging Tulowitzki. Got out of the gate quickly with a .303 average with Toronto, but in the last 5 games, he slowed down a bit. Grounded to Headley. 1 out. I want to give you the whole Yankee defense presented by Geico. In the outfield, Gardner, Ellsbury, and Young. That's left to right. In the infield, it's Headley, Gregorius, Ryan, and Teixeira third to first. Brian McCann's behind the plate. Ivan Nova is on the mound.
And Gregorius, in particular at short, has played some of the best shortstop defensively over the last few games that I've seen in a long time. I mean, just remarkable, some of the plays he made in Cleveland.
Here's Josh Donaldson as the crowd tries to get a chant going of MVP.
Here's our Jeep hitter scouting report. First and third. He's hit the most home runs of any third baseman in the major leagues. 29 of his 31 have come as a third baseman. First inning power. His last 4 home runs have all come in the first inning. And he's having an MVP type season.
Nova drops a breaking ball in there for a strike. 1-1.
How about that? Blue Jays traded for a player who might become the MVP of the league. Now, that has happened in the past.
He plays a good third base, too, so it's not all offense.
(1-1) happened with Frank Robinson.
Happened with Roger Maris. Came over the next year from the Kansas City A's and it was the MVP 2 years in a row for the Yankees. Frank Robinson, Raleigh Fingers, Dick Allen. There's a few others.
Ryan more than shading up the middle and on what would be the outfield grass. As Donaldson hits a high fly ball. A lot of foul territory, but it'll make the seats.
Yeah, Michael mentioned Frank Robinson. Not only was he the MVP, he won the Triple Crown. When Cincinnati traded him to Baltimore, they said he was an old 30.
Yeah, this deal with the A's doesn't quite make sense. At least Cincinnati thought he was an old 30. I mean, there doesn't seem to be rhyme or reason for trading Donaldson.
Yeah, but he hit 49 home runs that year. His first year in Baltimore.
Here's the 2-2. Grounded to short. Gregorius. David, you're so right about Gregorius. I was watching those games with you and Ryan doing them in Cleveland. He just seems so much more comfortable and so much confidence now that he didn't have in the first month and a half of the season. Seems like a different player.
Really does. His range is tremendous. Maybe the best throwing arm in the big leagues right now.
That double play that they turned with him on one knee going in the hole and falling backwards, that was one of the plays of the year.
Here's Jose Bautista. And there's a strike.
One thing you'll notice about Bautista, he's one of the big hitters in the league, home run hitter. He's hit, 20 home runs since June 1st. But he stands right up on top of the plate, much in the same way Frank Robinson did years ago. He's looking to do one thing. That's pull the ball over the left field wall.
Clip the outside corner. 1-2.
And there's something else that he does. Every time there's a call strike, he looks back at the umpire. And to me, if I'm an umpire, it's not only the umpire behind home plate that gets ticked, it's the other 3 on the bases that get ticked as well, and the ones watching back, monitoring this game for review.
Strike 3. Bautista down looking and does not like the call. Strong first inning for Ivan Nova as he retires the Blue Jays in order 1-2-3. We go to the second, looking for a run. And some notable midseason starting pitcher acquisitions. Rick Sutcliffe went to the Cubs and went 16-1. Doyle Alexander was traded for John Smoltz, won 9-0, helped get the Tigers into the playoffs. David Cohn got the Yankees into the playoffs in 95, 9-2. Randy Johnson in 98 goes 10-1 with the Astros. And then CeCe in that trade to Milwaukee was unbelievable, and he pitched the Brewers into the playoffs 11-2, 1.65.
Yeah, that trade Alexander for John Smoltz actually helped John Smoltz get into the Hall of Fame.
And helped the Tigers just get into the playoffs and not win. So was it worth it? But that's the situation you deal with when you're trading for a player of that sort. And the Blue Jays gave up a lot. The Yankees gave up kind of their top prospect of 3 pitchers. Marty Jansen was most highly thought of. I would think that there's pressure on you, David, coming in as the hired gun, but it also gives the team a lift.
Yes, absolutely. I can tell you this, the 2 times that the trades that I had, the 92 one here with the Blue Jays and then in 95 with the Yankees, that I was so well received. There really was a lift in the clubhouse. And, conversely, it works the other way too.
Well, I looked up that 92 trade, and David Cohn came to the Blue Jays. And it was for Ryan Thompson, who was a player to be named later, and Jeff Kent. Now, as I said before, the Blue Jays wouldn't have won the World Series without David Cohn that year because he had a stretch of 3 games, Michael, where he got 2 runs of support. He won 1-0, 1-0, and lost 1-0 in a 3-game period. So that will lift any ball club. Pitcher comes in, wins 2 games, 1-0. And David, I know you remember those games.
I do.
Missed outside to McCann. The count 3-2. McCann leading off. Had a big home run yesterday. Got the Yankees on the board. Kind of snapped them out of their offensive doldrums, and they held on for the win. And the 3-2. Popped up. Russell Martin avoids the bat, makes the play. Time for today's conversation, brought to you by Toyota. Toyota is the official hybrid vehicle of the Yankees. Who do you think is the greatest offensive catcher you've ever seen and why? Michael Renner, 14. I'm a big Jorge Posada fan, but you cannot argue with Mike Piazza's numbers. Follow Yes Network and tweet us your responses using hashtag Yankees Prius to keep the conversation going. You know, Peter Berra wasn't bad either.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the qualifier there is players you've seen, you know, but without a doubt, Yogi Berra, to me. Look at his numbers.
3-time MVP. You got Johnny Bench you can throw in there. Roy Campanella with the Dodgers back there. He was a contemporary of Yogi Berra. They've met in the World Series many times. Campanella won 3 MVPs too.
Thurman Munson, a pretty good offensive catcher. He won an MVP.
Yeah, he did. He could come through in the clutch for sure.
One. Line drive, center field. It's a base hit in front of Pilar. So Headley picks up a single. Second hit off of Price. You can see how much Price is perspiring. Do you remember it being that hot on the field when the dome was closed?
Well, you know, definitely the weather patterns up here make a big difference, and there is obviously a little bit of a, you know, humidity working through the area on the weekend here. So when it gets humid and the dome is closed, you definitely feel it. That's not often the case up here, obviously north of the border.
Here's Chris Young.
Oh, anybody who played an exhibition stadium like I did, you would be thankful that they have a dome here, because early in the season it could be really, really cold. And the same thing would apply later on in the season. You could feel the onset of winter towards the latter months of the season.
The 0-1. Now, the Yankees have a little bit of a conundrum when it comes to Chris Young. You want to play him against lefties because he's deadly against lefties, but somebody has to sit, and today it's Carlos Beltran, and in the month of August, he's been one of the Yankees' best hitters, and he's a switch hitter, too, so he's not used to being quote-unquote platoon.
Yeah, actually, if you just take away the month of April, Beltran's numbers have been really good.
The 0-2. Tied him up, fouled away.
Yeah, Chris Young has been very, very good against lefties during the course of the season, but this is one he's had trouble with in the past. I think he's 1 for 10 in his career against David Price, and it's understandable. Price is one of the better pitchers. You usually don't jump on guys like that for big numbers.
Swing and a miss.
Well, the previous pitch, Price had come inside, and Chris Young had an emergency swing and fouled it off. He comes right back with the same pitch, just above the hands, and gets him to swing through it and miss it for strike 3.
Here's Didi Gregorius. Headley leads off first, held by Smoke. Ground ball up the middle. Goins is there. And he'll take the out at first to end the inning. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the second. Still no score.
Full of possibilities, full of life. And John Gibbons has an offensive juggernaut on his hands. The Blue Jays lead the major leagues in runs scoring, 615 runs. The Yankees are second with 542. Starting pitchers have been rolling. This is what has really fueled the Blue Jays' latest winning streak at 11. 17 straight games, their starting pitchers have allowed 3 or few earned runs in a ball game. The club record's 18, by the way. In the 1954 Cleveland Indians, the last team to have 2 11-game winning streaks in a season.
Encarnacion right in on the hands. A foul ball, but they're going to say that he was hit on the hand and give him first base. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah.
It looks like it's right on top of his left wrist.
Ooh.
Nova with a lot of movement tonight. That two-seam fastball running in. Clearly no intent.
Encarnacion's been dealing with a sore middle finger on his left hand. The feeling was he might not even play in this series, but he's in there. And that's how he hurt it at Yankee Stadium. On a swing and a miss. And he actually didn't play in yesterday's ball game. And you could see swinging with one hand at the stadium in the Bronx.
It's bothered him for a couple of weeks. It was aggravated at the stadium with that swing, but he stayed in and one-handed the ball to continue his hitting streak. So he'll lead off first. Here's Justin Smoke. Hey, before we get too far along, everybody here in this booth wants to send out our thoughts and prayers to John Farrell, the manager of the Red Sox, who has stepped down while he undergoes treatment for stage 1 lymphoma. We wish him the best of luck. He's a great guy, a great baseball man, and we wish him health and get back quickly.
Yeah, get well soon, John.
Torey Lovullo will take over as the interim manager. The 0-1. 1-1.
I mentioned that 1954 Cleveland Indians team, they had 3 Hall of Fame pitchers on their staff. Early Wynn, Bob Lemon, and Bob Feller. And they had another pitcher, Mike Garcia, who won 19 games that year. So they won 111 games.
That one is chopped to Didi. He's got one play. He'll make it at first. So the shift was on, and there was no way they could get Encarnacion at second.
Here's where the turf comes into play. You see the high hop. Another high hop. Gregorius solves that, but throws the first to get Smoke. And on the play, Encarnacion moves into scoring position.
You get some funny hops off this turf. That second hop took off to the right on Gregorius.
This is a new turf this year, and they say it's a lot slower than the previous turf that was here.
There's Russell Martin. They're 2 years away from installing a grass field, which is the one thing that was always missing. But with the CFL Montreal Alouettes playing here, they weren't able to continue to have a grass field or have one for the whole season. So once the Alouettes lease expires and they have to move someplace else to play, they will put grass here at Rogers Center. Grounded foul.
That's going to be interesting to see how they do this. Remember, you go back to the days of the Astrodome, the first indoor stadium, that they could not grow grass in there, and they had to go to artificial surface.
Well, you'd have to start from scratch, dig everything up, and put in a drainage system, because there's no drainage system under this turf.
Of course, it's the Toronto Argonauts. I said the Montreal Alouettes. Toronto Argonauts. Their lease is up in a couple of years here. 0-1. Check swing, 1-2. You
could see Ivan Nova and Brian McCann pounding that sinker into right-handed batters, similar to what we saw for the first 5 innings in his last start against Toronto. But he's got a good one tonight. 94 miles an hour on that one. Just almost knocked the bat out of Russell Martin's hands.
Yeah, you go back to the scouting report. That's a good thing. And he's got movement and velocity. So far, he's gotten 3 ground ball outs. And that's a good thing against a power hitting team.
1-2.
You know,
Checks his swing.
I'm not Michael and Kenny. I'm not saying that the Blue Jays are stealing signs, but this has always been a place where you just be extra careful. And you see Brian McCann with some sophisticated signs touching his chest protector, really being careful in this place. Even with no runners on, I've noticed he's given multiple signs.
Blue Jays are 39-21 here at home. Swing and a miss. Martin down on strikes.
Yeah,
Two-way.
We talked about the good sink on the fastball. This is an example. Watch this just go right underneath the bat as Martin strikes out. Power and movement. Tough combination for hitters to solve.
Yeah, late movement too. You see that ball explode almost just in front of home plate where the movement takes place.
Here's Ryan Goins. Fastball strike on the outside corner, 0-1.
Some more versatility with the addition of Cliff Pennington. The Blue Jays picked him up. Pennington's not in there tonight, but he played second base yesterday. And Goins moved over to shortstop, and Tulowitzki got the day off. Goins has been a shortstop in the past. Pennington has been too. And Goins got the big hit yesterday, a 3-run homer that helped the Blue Jays win that final game of the series against the A's 4-2. He doesn't hit many. That was his 4th of the year.
Brian McCann doing a great job of expanding the zone right there. Both of those pitches borderline away. Got the call.
They talk about speeding up the games, but these complicated signs, it's going to slow the game down tonight. When men get on base, and particularly maybe not quite as complicated when there are no men on base for the Blue Jays, but the Yankees still are going to give, as David said, multiple signs. And that's because that rumor floated a few years ago, didn't it, Michael, about the Blue Jays?
Yeah, binoculars up in the suite in the hotel part. A lot of speculation, no proof, obviously. You know, they qualify that. There is no proof at all that anything's going on, but it is incumbent upon the Yankees and the visiting teams to make sure. Cover yourself, cover your signs. It's sort of like putting a chain on your bike when you go into the store. You just take the mystery out of it.
1-2. Well, Roger Clemens was paranoid about it. In any ballpark, you know, he'd give signs, multiple signs, and the catcher would give multiple signs. He didn't know who was giving the signs, but Roger called his own game toward the end. Now, it seems very complicated to us, David, but is it tough for a pitcher? Does he have to lock into another gear mentally to get those signs?
Yes, you do have to narrow your focus, and a lot of times what you have to do is just trust the catcher. You're going to be a little more leery of shaking off signs because you have to go through the whole sequence once again if you do shake. But Nova's pretty good following the lead. Very deferential to McCann back there. He will occasionally, if he feels strongly, shake off McCann. You see McCann, no signs right here.
1-2. Fouled away.
You just have to be diligent. And Brian McCann, excellent at that. Different strategies. You know, you're right, Kenny. It slows it down. Go out and make a visit to the mound so you can go back behind home plate and not give signs. Now, this time he's going to have to. The last time, no signs. This time, multiple signs along with touches to the chest protector.
Fly ball into right center field. Long run for Ellsbury, and he makes the play. Oh, what a play by Jacoby Ellsbury. He saves a run. And Nova loves it. Why wouldn't he? Ellsbury chewing up huge chunks of real estate. and he makes the play in the webbing of the glove to end the inning. Right there. Look at how much room he covered.
Yeah, from our vantage point up here, there's no way he's going to get there. And he just clearly outran that ball. Tremendous speed.
The initial steps for an outfielder in pursuit of a fly ball, which is that he's going to have to cover a lot of ground, are the most important. A direct route to the and a good jump, and he had both of those to make that play. If he didn't, no way he comes up with it. Good judgment.
Audi A3 scoreboard, 0-0 as we start the third. Brendan Ryan took a strike. Now the count 0-2. Brendan Ryan's mustache is now starting to lapse into Sparky Lyle territory.
You know,
little Raleigh fingers as well.
Yeah, I was thinking you could go in a little further than that. You got Raleigh fingers.
Yeah, he's got a little wax working, a little mustache wax on the end to twirl it.
The 1-2. He didn't know where that ball was. It was behind the plate and he started running.
It's like a off-speed pitch off the end of the bat. I'm thinking of the W.B. Mason guy. Who but?
Grounded deep at third. Donaldson fields the long throw. Safe. The throw pulled smoke off the bag. And a slide into the bag by Ryan. And they give Ryan a base hit.
Well, Donaldson made a play here yesterday. Barehanded, made a throw over to first base to get the out. But today he gives ground. That's all upon the arm. And you can see smoke. We'll take a look at this one on Yes Mo, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. And
that's going to be challenged. Yeah, I'd be surprised if it's not.
First base umpire Jordan Baker making the call. Let's take a look at the foot.
No.
It looks like it might have slid off the bag.
Well, it's very close.
Yeah, it is.
And they are going to challenge. As David said, so the call comes from the Blue Jays dugout. The challenge, remember, has to be conclusive. Will they overturn it?
Well, the ball's there, obviously on time. Did Smoke, after the foot initially came off, get his toe right back down? Looks to me like he might have. Like he initially came off a bit and then got his toe back down.
And the fact that Ryan was sliding in, maybe Jordan Baker didn't get a clear view of what the foot was doing.
And also why Ryan sliding in, he made Smoke pull his foot out the bag rather than have him slide into his foot. So very bang bang, and they'll decide back in New York. It's a hard angle to see whether or not he kept his foot on the bag there.
Kind of lost in the shuffle. Is a very dangerous slide from Ryan there. I thought he might get hurt, but wow, that was ugly looking. A good way to separate your shoulder.
Brendan Ryan going back to the Yankee dugout. He's signaling that he's safe. They're looking at the replay on the big board here at Rogers Center, but it's hard to tell.
I don't know how Brendan Ryan would know whether he's safe or not. His face was in the ground.
Got a mustache full of dirt.
He's got a lot of that foul line on the back of his uniform too, obscuring the 7 on the 17.
Umpire on the left there is Jordan Baker, who made the call, and Paul Emmel is the other umpire, the second base umpire tonight. And well, as I look at Emmel there, how many times have you seen umpire wear glasses on the field?
That used to be a big no-no.
Oh, that was a no-no.
Well, they're saying he's safe, so the Blue Jays have lost their challenge.
Yeah, it was obviously a tough one to overturn. The old dreaded, if you're a Blue Jay fan, inconclusive
evidence.
Took 1 minute and 55 seconds for them to review. Here's Jacoby Ellsbury, made that great play to end the bottom of the second. He grounded to second after a long battle with Price to lead off the game.
David, I heard you and Ryan talking about Ellsbury's day off, and when he went to work with hitting coach Jeff Pentland, looked at a lot of video and felt like he was trying to do too much with his lower body.
Well, upper half, yeah, he wasn't using his lower half is the report, and that's only natural coming off of a knee injury. Both pitchers and hitters can develop bad habits, as you know, Kenny, when you kind of compensate when you first come back. And swung the bat much better last night in Cleveland. Really busted out. Yankees top of the order, Gardner and Ellsbury led the charge.
Now the Yankees have stopped running as a team anyway, but it's tough against Martin. He's 36.8% throwing out base runners. So you've got to get a good jump and make sure the pitcher's a little bit slower to the plate.
I don't think Price has that good a move, but what he does, he holds the ball a little bit longer, and sometimes the runner will commit, and then he'll throw over.
Popped up. Long run for Donaldson. And he makes an over-the-shoulder play. Nice play by Donaldson for the first out. That's out of the Willie Mays songbook.
Well, he's had some great plays down at Tampa Bay. He dove to the stands much in the same way Derek Jeter did. Made a nice play, and he can add this one to the resume. Nice long run. Stays with it over the shoulder, as Michael said, a la Willie Mays, and hauls it in for the first out of the inning. And there's Jacoby Ellsbury's response to what is a very good play by the Blue Jays third baseman.
Little MVP chant started from the Blue Jay crowd here.
Here's Brett Gardner. Ryan still at first. He's getting the lead where 1 foot is on the artificial turf, 1 foot on the dirt.
David, when we think back to when David Price first broke in with the Rays, I think he had a better fastball than he does right now. He's slowed down a few miles, but he's a much better pitcher now. He's more of a pitcher than a thrower.
Yeah, every year.
Slapped into left field. It's a base hit for Gardner as Brendan Ryan advances to second. That'll bring up A-Rod with runners on first and second.
I've always felt that when you face a big-time pitcher and you get your opportunities, you got to take them, because you're not going to get all that many. This is one of the times where the Yankees have a runner in scoring position, a chance to break out in front in this game. If you're A-Rod, you look at, see where the defenders are. Sometimes they give you a clue. You can see that Pilar is just a step towards left center field. A-Rod doubled to the gap last time up on a changeup.
Yankees announced today that they are going to celebrate A-Rod's 3,000th career hit with a special pregame ceremony on Sunday, September 13th. And Alex spoke about it with the media today before the game, and he said, I'm just speechless. He said, last year at this time I didn't know if I'd ever be playing baseball again. He said, but I want to thank the Yankee organization, the Steinbrenner family for doing this. He said, I just can't believe it. Snap throw to second as Ryan goes back.
When you're hitting in these situations, your senses are really at their best. I mean, and your vision in particular. That you can hear the din of the crowd in the background, but that's not what you're focusing on. You're focusing on the pitcher. That's David Price. You're looking at the infielders, the shortstop in particular, when I came up, to see if they would move somewhat. Might give you an indication of what they're trying to do to you, as what the pitcher might be trying to do. A-Rod's got the count his way. Look for that release point. And I can remember sequences from 30 years ago, but I can't remember to take out the garbage the next day. That's how much your senses are heightened in these situations.
Two-one. Line into center field. Pilar is there, and it's sunk on him, but he stays with it to make the play. Ryan tags and goes to third. So A-Rod hit it well, sinking line drive, but Pilar makes the play.
It looked like he was trying to fill the right center field gap this time. That pitch was out over the plate. You can see Pilar stays with it and corrals it. Ball, as Michael said, begins to sink at the end. He stays with it. Brendan Ryan tags at second, moves over to third. For the second straight time, A-Rod hit the ball on the nose.
One note, David Price allowed 3 hits in 7 innings in his last start against the Yankees, and 4 of the first 11 batters have hit tonight. So they're doing a little better about him, but still have not been able to push a run across. Actually 4 of the first 12 now. Here's Teixeira. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. 95-mile-an-hour fastball strike. He's at 50 pitches, Price is. One and one. Teixeira's 0 for 1, grounded to third in the first with A-Rod at second and 2 outs. So much of the Yankees' great start and being in first place by as many games as they were on July 28th was because of A-Rod and Teixeira. And you don't know if it's the dog days of August, the fact that the 2 guys in front of them have also gone into slumps. but they need to pick up where they were previously for the Yankees to get back on that roll. Strike three. Teixeira down looking. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. He took one right down the middle. We go to the bottom of the third. Shave time, shave money by your Tri-State BMW centers and by RE/MAX. Nobody sells more real estate than RE/MAX. Well, they've been doing a brisk business with the new Blue Jay players, David Price and Troy Tulowitzki. And they've been doing a brisk business at the turnstiles. Kenny mentioned earlier, since those trades were made, they have sold 500,000 individual tickets, which is an amazing amount of tickets to sell in that short a period of time. So they have energized a fan base that has been dormant for many, many years. Here's Kevin Pillar leading off the bottom of the third. 0-1.
Yeah, the combination of obviously Tulowitzki and Price, and the residual effect as well. Record-breaking television revenues, merchandising sales.
Audi A3 scoreboard, 0-0. Kind of unusual watching Teixeira take that pitch. I mean, it looked as if he was guessing for something else, but why guess with 2 strikes unless he was guessing an area, and this was right down the middle.
Yeah, it looked to me like he was looking for something inside. Every other pitch had been kind of in. That was sort of like a backdoor breaking ball that picked off the middle of the plate. Look out.
And Pillar gets plumped.
Yeah, all the fans here see that Pillar got hit by a pitch, but they didn't see that it was a breaking ball. It just didn't have any bite, except until it got to Pillar, and then it bit him.
Yeah, you could almost see the spin, like a helicopter spinning the wrong way.
Second straight inning, and Nova's hit the first batter.
Here's Ben Revere. And he bunts. Foul. Also a trade deadline acquisition. And he has not done that well since joining the Blue Jays. Just 9 hits and 42 at bats.
Yeah, with Tulowitzki out of the lineup yesterday, Revere went back to his customary leadoff spot. That's what he did in Philadelphia. It's interesting to note he's asked to bunt here. He was out here earlier today with Pennington and Goins working on their bunting. And first one he fails to get down. Headley breathing down his neck, charging from third.
Ooh, ooh. 0-2.
That was nasty. This pitch comes to the plate, and then the bottom falls out of it, and he's trying to bunt it.
Look at that release point from Nova. Kind of almost low three-quarters, generating that kind of sinking spin.
If you're watching at home, kids, this is not the way to attempt to bunt. Supposed to get the ball down, not the bat down.
Runner goes, and there's a base hit through the shortstop hole. Pilar goes to third. Revere with a single. Runners on first and third, nobody out.
Well, after failing the bunt, Revere gets the last lap. He gets a ride down to first base on a hit-and-run single. It chases Pilar to third.
Well, this play makes much more sense to me than trying to bunt in the fourth inning. I would have rather seen the situation on the first pitch, this play being put on, especially with Pilar on first. Much more aggressive play than trying to sacrifice bunt off a pitcher with a lot of movement. But that's just me. You know, that's the big debate, to bunt or not. I like that play better.
Tulowitzki grounded to third in the first. Good speed on the bases for the Blue Jays. Pilar at third. Revere is at first. Tulowitzki at the plate. Yankees looking for the double play. Nova in his first big jam.
You know, one thing you usually don't see is a hit and run put on with an 0-2 pitch, because if you're trying to have the hitter ahead on the count to force the pitcher to throw a strike. When the pitcher's ahead on the count, he doesn't have to. And for some reason, it still worked out. Maybe it wasn't hit and run. Maybe Pilar was just stealing. The hole opened up, and Revere shot it through there.
Tulowitzki, a .349 hitter this year with the Rockies and the Blue Jays, with runners in scoring position.
Nova's been able to tie him up inside, even on that 2-0 fastball.
The 2-1 off the hand of Nova over to Didi. He tags second. They get the force. Scoring is Pilar, and let's see if Nova's okay.
Well, I know it's easy to say don't do that, but it's not a play you practice. It's obviously just an instinctual move from Nova, but the last thing you want is to put your pitching hand out there on a batted ball coming back at you. But easier said than done. I've done it before. You've got a split second to make a decision. It's just reactionary and right off of his fingertips.
Now, if you're looking at where Gregorius is stationed, either he or Ryan probably would have gotten that ball anyway. And he might have had a better chance to turn a double play. They're playing up the middle anyway with a double play depth. Nova slows it down. The Yankees are only able to get one.
You can almost see the wheels spinning. Why did I do that? I've been there, Michael, and I've said the same thing to myself on the mountain. Why did I do that? How could I do that? You just do.
Stevie Donahue, head athletic trainer, is convinced that Nova's okay, and he and Rothschild and Girardi breathed a sigh of relief and head to the dugout. So they get the force, a fielder's choice, and Tulowitzki picks up a ribby. And here's Josh Donaldson, who grounded to short in the first. It's 1-0 Blue Jays, bottom of the third. Want to know. Tap slowly to third, foul ball. So first and third, nobody out. Is trying to do the runner at first. One man out and one run in. There's a base hit to left field. Tulowitzki stops at second. Gardner gets the ball into Gregorius. A single for Donaldson.
Trying to come in, you can see it just doesn't get in there. Nova had been burying right-handed batters up to this point inside. That one did not move.
There's Bautista, struck out looking in the first. First and second, one man out. Line down the left field line. It's a base hit. It'll go into the corner. Tulowitzki scores. They're waving Donaldson. Now they hold him up, and he is safe. Gets in ahead of the tag by Headley. But Bautista's on second. He has a ribby, and it's a 2-0 Blue Jays lead.
Well, it looks as though the Blue Jays are looking in. At least Bautista was. That pitch, he strokes it down the left field line into the corner. Good play by Brett Gardner to dig it out quickly, get the ball back in. This is the reason why Luis Rivera, the third base coach, is going to have to hold Donaldson at third. Headley attempts to make the tag. Good dive by Donaldson to get back safely. He dives to the opposite corner of the third base bag. Headley's going to have to follow him. Does he get him? Wow, that's a closer play than I thought. He's going to be called safe by the umpire, Mark Wegner.
Well, the Yankees are not having Nova get on the mound because then you can't challenge. They're looking at several different replays. Brett Weber does the honors in the Yankee clubhouse. He's been great at this all year. And they do not have anything that they think would be overturned.
David, you're right. He's not quite getting it in there. At least that one was elevated a bit. Bautista could get to it. The one to Donaldson, same sort of pitch, and he got to it.
Well, since the ball hit him in the hand, the sinker going into righties, not the same quality.
Here's Encarnacion, who was hit by a pitch in the second inning. Fly ball, right field, right center, caught there by Ellsbury. The throw comes to third. Tagging is Donaldson. A sac fly for Encarnacion. And it's 3-0 Toronto. So 3 runs in. A runner on second.
First curveball we've seen in the last 2 sequences of batters. And that one's up as well.
Here's Justin Smoke. One and 0.
Encarnacion had a funny looking swing there, Ken. I don't know if his finger's still bothering him.
You know, it reminds me of Adrian Beltre down in Texas. Had a thumb injury, and he was not swinging the bat particularly well down in Texas when the Yankees saw him. Same sort of thing working with Encarnacion here. It's his middle finger on his left hand.
Take a look at this swing. Really letting go of it.
Yeah, that's not his best swing on a breaking ball that kind of hung a bit.
It's like he's a little inhibited on his follow through.
Two and one. Two one. Ground ball to second base. Brendan Ryan makes the play. But the Blue Jays score 3. They lead 1. We go to the 4th. It's 3-0 Toronto. Multiple win streaks in a season, 10 or more games in a season since 1920. The Blue Jays have had 2 11-game winning streaks. The Indians back in 54, the same. Red Sox, Cubs, Philadelphia A's, Pittsburgh Pirates, and the New York Yankees. All previous teams before the Blue Jays lost the World Series that year.
And that 26 Yankees team, just in case you were wondering, Babe Ruth hit 372 with 47 homers, 153 ribbies, and 144 walks. 1926.
The next year he hit 60.
By today's standards, that was an 11.5 WAR, Michael, for Babe Ruth in 1926.
Next year he really broke out.
Yeah, you really think about the 27 Yankees, right?
Yeah.
Lincoln scoreboard 3-0 Blue Jays as we go to the 4th.
Well, he mentioned that Nova's margin for error is very slim in their scouting report. Now the Yankees find themselves down 3-0. Go to work against one of the better pitchers in the league. But I will tell you right now, he's not throwing as well as he did last week at Yankee Stadium. As Michael pointed out, the Yankees had 4 hits. They've left 4 men on in the first 3 innings. They had a chance particularly last inning, to jump on the board first, and they didn't do it.
Two. Right into the shift, one away.
Fans, Tuesday night on Yes, the new host of Late Night, Seth Meyers, sits down for a new Center Stage with Michael Kay to discuss his move to the legendary show. Don't miss an all-new Center Stage presented by your Tri-State Land Rover retailers. Tuesday at 11, only on Yes. Fun show, Michael?
Yes, good guy.
Uh-huh. My kids went to that show.
That's right.
Yeah. They loved it.
Chase Headley wraps one to left center. Pilar drifts back. 2 outs.
You could sort of contrast David Price's style with Mark Burley. Mark Burley's already thrown the pitch. But that's just David Price's style. He's never going to be like Mark Burley. He's always going to be deliberate. He's going to take his time. That's just his style.
Here's Chris Young, who struck out in the second. Fastball strike. Went off speed, way out in front. 0-2. One and two on Young.
Now, with Price making this start tonight, now yesterday there was another Vanderbilt pitcher supposed to pitch here, Sonny Gray, but he came up with back spasms and didn't pitch the final game of that series for the A's.
Swing and a miss. A 10-pitch inning for David Price as it retires the Yankees in order. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Michael Pineda was put on the DL on July 30th, right flexor forearm muscle strain. He threw a bullpen session yesterday, expected to pitch for AA Trenton on Sunday. We bring in Meredith Marakovitz. Any more on Pineda?
Well, Michael, it's not out of the question that if that start goes well for Michael Pineda, that his next start could be up here with the New York Yankees. General Manager Brian Cashman is actually here in Toronto, and he said first and foremost, the most important thing with Pineda is health. They need him down the stretch. So as long as he comes out of it okay, they'll then evaluate what the best step is for him moving forward, if it's joining the big league club or making another appearance for a minor league start. Brian Cashman said a lot depends on what's happening up here in the big club, if they can afford to bring Pineda back knowing he's going to have a limited pitch count, or if they're in a situation where they have used a lot of pitchers, you're probably not going to see that.
Well, so Martin with a high fly ball to right, and Jacoby Ellsbury moves out of the way as Young makes the play. Ellsbury was calling, but Young reached up a little bit higher to make the play. Lincoln scoreboard 3-0 Toronto. Well, the Yankees are in the middle of a stretch now where 16 straight games without an off day. So they like to give Sabathia and Tanaka that extra day. And who that pitcher is going to be to make it a six-man rotation is really up for debate right now. Could be Brian Mitchell. Could be a combination of Mitchell and Warren. Could be Pineda. Down 0-1. We're in the bottom of the fourth inning, first of three between the Yankees and the Blue Jays. A battle for first place here in the American League East. It's 3-0 Toronto, as they're trying to win a franchise record 12th straight game. The 0-1.
Talking to John Gibbons before the game, he says, I know we're going to lose one eventually. You know, he knows it. You're going to lose a game. Sometimes you beat yourselves in ball games. The other team doesn't beat you. You beat yourself in a game. The Blue Jays have tightened up their defense. It's become tougher for them to beat themselves defensively. And the way they've been scoring runs and the pitching's been going, it's been tough for them to lose a game.
Yeah, they were off yesterday, but this is the guy who hit the 3-run home run for him 2 games ago to extend the streak. And Tulowitzki got the off day, and Encarnacion was on the bench. It was Goins that hit a big 3-run home run that was the difference. And of course, Mark Burley with another good start. And the Blue Jays have had so many consecutive starts, I believe 17, where their starters have given up 3 earned runs or less.
Grounded to Ryan. Time for the Lows never stop improving standings. We'll take a look at the American League East. The Yankees technically have fewer losses than the Blue Jays, but they are a half game behind because the Blue Jays have 2 more wins. The Orioles now have been leapfrogged by the Rays, who just won't go away. The Orioles just came off a West Coast road trip, and then the Red Sox are in last place. Want to remind everybody this entire series, you could watch every game right here on Yes. And tomorrow and Sunday, both 1 o'clock starts. Cito Gaston won 2 championships with the Blue Jays as their manager. And now in their Ring of Honor between Dave Stieb and Pat Gillick. He had 2 turns here as the Blue Jay manager. Came back again after stepping down, but didn't have as much success. He was perhaps unfairly knocked that he was a push-button manager, that there was so much talent on the team. But that's a hard job to keep so many talented players going in the same direction.
What would you rather have, a team with no talent?
Grounded to Gregorius. Nice hop. And Nova with a bounce back inning retires the Blue Jays in order 1, 2, 3. We're going to the 5th. It's 3-0 Toronto. Toronto on the Bigelow T scoreboard. The Blue Jays have 3 hits. The Yankees have 4, but they've been unable to get the big one. The Yankees will send 8, 9, and 1 in the order up against David Price, starting with Didi Gregorius. Fastball inside, 1-0.
One of the things Gregorius has done so well as of late, and really all season for the Yankees, is hit the ball the other way. Leads the Yankees with opposite field hits.
That's driven the other way to left center, but Pilar is there, 1 away. Tomorrow afternoon on Yes, the series between 2 of the top teams in the AL East continues when the Yankees and the Blue Jays battle in a Saturday matinee. Coverage will start at noon with Audi batting practice today. Tri-State Ford pregame. It's only on Yes. First pitch should be right around 1:07. There's Brendan Ryan. He hit a ground ball that was fielded deep at third by Donaldson. His throw looked like it took smoke off the bag. Head first slide by Ryan. Got him in there. The Blue Jays challenged, and it was not overturned. So a base hit for Ryan. Trying for a more conventional one, but breaks his bat and hits a foul ball.
David, I know that during your career you used to wear number 36 quite often, most of the teams you were on. When Price came to Toronto, the number 14 really wasn't available. It was Justin Smoke who wore that number. So Smoke was willing to change numbers. He went down a digit to number 13, and Price got his number 14. Did you have 36 at wherever you went?
No, that was just a Yankee number.
Okay.
When I showed up for the Yankees, the clubhouse manager was Nick Priori, and I was afraid to approach him. I just took what he gave me. He gave me 36. He actually didn't even make up a new jersey for me. He just gave me Billy Connor's old jersey. He was the pitching coach for the first half of the year.
Billy was a big man. You must have been swimming in that.
It did not fit. I didn't say a word. Actually, the number rode up a little higher on my back. If you go back and look at some of the pictures in '95, my jersey and the number on my back was riding up a little higher on my back. It definitely looked different than the rest of the team.
The 0-2, swing and a miss. Ryan down on strikes. Check in with another update with Bob Lorenz. Bob? All right here it's 3-0. Top of the 5th inning. Toronto leads. And top of the Yankee order, Jacoby Ellsbury, who is 0 for 2. Popped up. Right field. Long run. It's going to drop in there for a base hit. Quickly fielded by Goings and fires to second as Ellsbury reaches with a 2-out single.
You know, even though Ellsbury has not been swinging the bat all that well, and this ball isn't really isn't tattooed, let's put it that way. Every little hit you get at this point when you've been struggling, it feels like a line drive. You're on first base. He gets to talk to Tony Pena, something that hasn't been happening a lot lately. So he's on with a base hit, and it's something to smile about. He had 2 hits yesterday? All right. He's starting to roll in the right direction now.
Oh, 1 on Gardner. Gardner slapped a single left his last time up. He's 1 for 2. One and one.
It's a good pitch right there. No, just enough inside right at the belt to stand up Gardner a bit. Talked about Nathan Eovaldi, the Yankees pitcher, being able to do a little more of this when you're coming inside, miss in just a bit. And that wasn't even that much, but just enough to make Gardner move his feet. Very effective.
Now, we mentioned how tough Price is, and to have Ellsbury and Gardner have hits tonight, each of them have hits. They're starting to come out of it. You know, there's a little bit of a funk that they've been in. You got to walk before you can run. And just to stick one hit in there, it'd been nice if they stuck them in there in the same inning. But that wasn't the case. And sometimes, you know, just one hit against tough pitchers gives you a little bit more confidence. And you start to roll against the guys who aren't quite that good.
The 2-2. Base hit. Ellsbury will stop at second. Second hit of the night for Gardner. Yankees have runners on first and second with 2 outs for A-Rod.
You know, you can see what Price was doing with Gardner at that time up. The previous time, Gardner slapped one into left field for a base hit on a pitch away. This whole at bat, he tried to stay in, although they wanted that one away, and he didn't get it there. The previous pitch has been in. This time, Gardner's ready, drags it through the hole. His second hit of the night. Once again, as I mentioned, that's a good sign. He had a big night last night in Cleveland. 2 hits here tonight. Maybe starting to come out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's getting very quality at bats.
A-Rod's hit the ball hard twice tonight.
There's a strike. Skied the other way and out of play. And it's 0-2 now on Alex.
That was closer than you think. That was one tick from being a 3-run home run.
Yeah, it was.
Just a little late from tying up this game.
Out over the plate. Just a hair quicker.
Martin wants to make sure. You know, Alex talked before the game about the dog days of August, and sometimes crowds like this and energy from the crowd can get you through the dog days of August. He said, listen, when you're 20 there are dog days of August. He said, I'm 40 and there are dog days of August, but this kind of rejuvenates you a bit, I would think. The 0-2. Fly ball, right field. Bautista puts it away for the final out of the 5th. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. At the end of 4.5, we're halfway through. It's 3-0 Toronto. a fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Yankees now 0 for 4 today with runners in scoring position. As we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, Ben Revere leads off.
You know, the Yankees have out-hit the Jays in this ballgame 6-3. The problem for the Yankees is, as we look at the Bigelow T scoreboard, all 3 of the Jays' hits came in the same inning.
There's a strike to Revere.
There's a lot of movement there with his hands before he actually swings the bat.
Yeah, that was that 0-2 hit and run play that kind of set up that inning with Ben Revere after 2 failed bunt attempts. Nova got himself in trouble with a leadoff hit batter on a hanging curveball. At least I'm assuming it was hit and run. And like you said, Kenny, who knows? But the runner was going, and Revere did a good job of finding the hole.
You see that little loop in his swing? How can he be on time? Again, he's hitting 291. I guess it works for him. A big time loop in his swing. He used to call that a hitch. And when hitters had it, hitting instructors would always try to get rid of it, because you're dropping your hands below the ball. You have to get your hands back up above the ball to hit it.
Fly ball left field. Gardner makes the play. 1 out.
Here's a look at what we're talking about. Revere here. A lot of movement before he swings the bat. Going to drop. Now he has to get it back on top of it, and he didn't get on top of that ball. And he popped it up into left field.
Here's Tulowitzki. Grounded one off the hand of Nova in the 3rd, and he picked up an RBI. The ball ricocheted to Gregorius, who made the dive and tagged second for the force. So he picked up a ribby.
Excellent pitch once again. If you're going to miss in. Make a move.
One pitch sets up the next. As you go back away with a breaking ball, let's see what they want to do here.
Grabbed there by Headley. Gets Tulowitzki.
Well, it went away. It wasn't a breaking ball. It was a fastball, wasn't it? Down and away. One pitch sets up the next one. Move him off the plate, then try and hit the outside corner, which he didn't do. That pitch was kind of in the middle.
It was in the middle. It had enough depth on it that Tulowitzki beat it in the ground. But really, all of these Blue Jay hitters, Donaldson and put Bautista in that category, try to make them uncomfortable. A steady diet of those kind of pitches when you get a chance.
There's a strike to Donaldson.
Especially when you're facing power hitters that really want to lean into it and with big swings.
Driven deep to left field. Is it fair? No, just foul. Missed that screen by just a bit.
Nova missed his target by just a bit too, and that's why Donaldson got into it. When you're trying to come in, as David said, if you're going to miss with it, miss inside off the plate, not towards the middle. Certainly had the distance, not quite the direction. He's not sure. He knew that he got enough of it. I got to come back.
When guys are swinging the bat like that, they need to be moved off the plate.
On an 0-2 pitch in particular.
Missed outside, 1-2.
You know, and that's the thing, because Nova is fairly predictable. I mean, sinkers into righties, curveballs away. His third choice is fastballs away, but he throws a sinker, and sometimes that fastball away drifts over the middle, like we saw with Tulowitzki. So the effective pitch, if these right-handed batters are looking in for Nova's sinker, then Nova needs to follow him in further. It's okay. It's calling pitching bad to your strengths. It's okay if they're looking for it. Well, hit this one right on your hands. Not trying to hit batters, Michael. Just trying to let them know you're out there. Make them a little more uncomfortable.
Maybe the game has changed over the years. And uncomfortable was the middle name for pitchers like Bob Gibson and Nolan Ryan. That was their middle name.
Strike three. Donaldson down looking. 8 in a row retired by Ivan Nova. The Yankee offense has to kick into gear. We go to the 6th, 3-0. It's Jacoby Ellsbury bobblehead night, the third in the 2015 collectible series presented by AT&T. It's for the first 18,000 guests in attendance. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. 3-0, top of the 6th inning as Teixeira fouls off the first pitch from Price. Now, the Yankees have obviously been in a slump. They've lost 5 of their last 6 games, and Toronto keeps winning. But although it seems like everybody would say, well, it's a pitch, it hasn't been the pitching. The pitching's been fine. Have the starters giving you the length that they want? No. But they're holding down teams enough that they should be able to win. The offense has simply disappeared other than yesterday.
Yeah, the problem for the Yankees, they had built up that cushion, but their bad streak coincided with the Blue Jays' best streak of the year. And that's how the lead evaporated so quickly.
Yeah, timing is everything. As the Yankees, as we said, the unbalanced schedule, there's still 20% of the schedule on both sides against each other.
Teixeira strikes out. Yankees have dominated the Blue Jays for so many years, but this year it's been all Jays. In the first 9 games, they've won 7 games. They've out-homered them, they've outscored them, and they've outpitched them.
I think in the last 10 years, the Blue Jays have won the season series 1 time.
Last 20 years, 2. 16-2-2 over the last 20 years, the season series.
Now, Ken Davidoff of the New York Post got a hold of Alex Anthopoulos, the GM of the Blue Jays, and it was interesting. He said the reason that he made the deals that he made was because he knew he still had 13 games remaining with the Yankees. There's a ground ball to first. He said we also had games remaining with the Twins and the Angels. So everybody that we had to catch, we were playing. So I thought it was worth it to go for it because we kind of held it in our own hands. If we beat that team, then we could move up. And these are some of the midseason acquisitions. They improved their bullpen with Hawkins and Lowe. Improved their starting rotation with Price. Tulowitzki, they haven't lost with him in the starting lineup. And Ben Revere is a second leadoff man in the bottom of the order. And they traded 11 pitching prospects and shortstop Jose Reyes for that haul.
You know, some people would tell you that the reason why they made these deals, that Alex Anthopoulos made these deals, is because of the fact there's going to be a new president here next year with the Toronto Blue Jays, and sometimes with a new president comes a new general manager. So if he makes these deals and the Blue Jays are successful going down the stretch here, might have just saved his job by making these moves.
Fly ball to right, and Bautista can't get there. He fields the ball near the stands, and Headley has picked up a 2-out double.
Watch the bounce off the turf. I mean, that's the thing you're getting off of this new turf. Some sideways bounces, both on the infield and the outfield. Rarely have we seen that here in the past. That ball almost bounced from fair territory into the stands.
Like a trampoline.
All right, here's Chris Young now with Headley at second. Yankees need a big blow so they can kind of exhale and know that they're back in this game. It's only 3-0, but runs have been at a premium. Chris Young has struck out twice against Price, who starts him off with a fastball inside.
I mean, in those deals, the Blue Jays sent off some pretty good prospects, including Daniel Norris, who pitched a game, his first game for the Tigers, and won in Baltimore.
Well, you mean business. You know, as the general manager for Toronto, Michael referred to, when he called Dave Dombrowski, he said, "Pick anybody you want." That's when you know you mean business.
Pick anybody you want.
He didn't give him a list. Oh, you can't have this prospect or this prospect.
You're talking about prospects.
Yeah, make your own deal. Pick anybody you want out of our top prospects. We'll work a deal around that. There he is. There's Alex.
He's just 38 years old. He's had the job 5 years.
Pretty good way to start a conversation about a trade with an opposing general manager.
Talking with the cab driver coming from the airport, and he was saying how great the deals were, and I said, you might have given up a lot of your future. And he said, doesn't matter, the future is now. This city is tired of losing, and they need to win to get these fans back. He's probably right.
Clearly, judging by the reaction.
Runner on second, 2 outs. The 2-1. Foul back, 2-2.
That was Chris Young's best swing of the night. He fouled it off.
Again, this sellout crowd out of their seats. Headley at second with 2 outs. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We're in the 6th. 3-0 Blue Jays. And Price deals. Right up the middle and slowed down by Price. Grabbed by Goins. And he still gets Young. Scoring 1-4-3. And David Price has a big smile on his face. No runs to hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. Yankees came this close to maybe getting one up the middle, but slowed down by Price. We go to the bottom of the 6th.
This was ticketed for center field and a potential RBI. But David Price gets a piece of it. Just enough to slow it down, and an excellent bare hand by Goins to get Young.
Pitch to Bautista. Breaking ball misses outside. With that scoreless frame, the Blue Jays have now shut down the Yankees 31 straight innings without scoring. And according to SN Stats, they're the first team to shut out the Yankees for 31 consecutive innings since the 1934 Tigers. 34. Grounded to third. And now with that 6th inning, it's 32 consecutive innings. So SN Stats hasn't figured that out yet. When's the last time that happened?
In case you were wondering, the best pitcher on the 34 Tigers was Schoolboy Rowe.
I've heard of him.
24-80 he went that year.
Fair ball past the diving Headley and off the wall. Played out there by Gardner. Going to second is Encarnacion, and he doubles and extends his hitting streak to 12 straight.
Well, this is the first hit for the Blue Jays outside of the 3rd inning. And a double by Encarnacion. And this is just fair. Watch Headley with the dive. See this on Yesmo, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. A game of inches indeed. Encarnacion with the 2-base hit.
Here's Justin Smoke.
Outside of the third inning, Nova's allowed just 2 base runners. He hit Encarnacion in the second inning, and Encarnacion's double here in the 6th inning. All the damage came in the 3rd inning.
Slow roller. Rolled over on that ball. Teixeira takes it. As Encarnacion moves to 3rd with 2 outs.
Well, Nova certainly has come back very nicely since the 3-run 3rd. A little worrying when he tried to barehand a ball and took it off his fingertips.
This game is eerily similar to the game last Saturday when he had 1 bad inning. In fact, he retired 16 of the 19 hitters until Smoke hit the grand slam.
He's really had good stuff tonight. Came out, excellent curveball. Fastball was diving. Velocity was up 94 to 95.
Two and 0. Strike. 2 and 1. Swing and a miss. 2 and 2.
Really a high quality sinker right there. 94 miles an hour, late movement. We've seen a bevy of these tonight. Right at home plate, it dives, even though it's right down the middle. Martin missed that by about 5 inches.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner at 3rd. Bottom of the 6th, 3-0 Blue Jays. The pitch. Grounded to Headley. Tough hop. Fields. And across the diamond, that will do it. Another scoreless inning for Ivan Nova as the Blue Jays strand 1. We go to the 7th, 3-0. Fastest, most reliable internet. Masahiro Tanaka will go for the Yankees against Marco Estrada. Our coverage begins at noon on Yes. First pitch right about 107. Joe Girardi said that this start for Tanaka is probably his biggest start as a Yankee because he was not active in July and August of last year when he went down with an injury. So this is a pretty big start. This is a pretty big series. Here's Didi Gregorius as we start the 7th. The Yankees still looking for a run. And a strike.
Sometimes you need a pitcher to step up and win a 1-0 game, especially when your offense is struggling. Sometimes quality starts don't get it done.
Base hit for Gregorius. So a leadoff single. And the Yankees 8 hits tonight against Price, but they can't get the big one.
Well, I mentioned, David, when you came over that trade, you had 2 1-0 wins and a 1-0 loss in a 3-game stretch. You remember who you beat 1-0?
Ooh, I have to look back a little bit. Yeah.
Wow. I would never forget that if I was pitching. It's like hitting a home run to win a game 1-0. You remember stuff like that.
I remember the losses more. I remember Game 5 in Seattle like it was yesterday.
All right.
Ball 4 to Doug Strange. It's funny how that works. You remember your failures more than your successes.
Hit Brendan Ryan.
Wow.
93 pitches for Price. Nobody up in the Blue Jays bullpen.
Maybe I should have dug a little deeper and looked that up. I was figuring you would remember that.
If you pitch a good game, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's true.
Fly ball down the right field line. Bautista makes the play in foul territory for the first out. Here's Jacoby Ellsbury, did his bloop single down the right field line, break him out of this. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Fly ball left field. Revere makes the play for the second out.
David Price has scattered 8 hits. Well, he had a couple innings where he gave up 2, but he got a little tough and shut the Yankees down from that point on. And you can see he, well, the first inning he threw 20 pitches. And a lot of that was because Ellsbury fouled off so many, leading off the game.
Well, you made a good point, Kenny. The difference between bunching hits and scattering hits. Nova's only given up 4.
There's a strike to Gardner.
David Price next week, I think he's going to turn 30 years old. And as I said, his next deal is going to be on his terms. Been traded twice in the last 2 years. August 26th, he'll be 30. The question is, will he be pitching for the Blue Jays next year or somebody else?
Well, this is the ultimate sales pitch for a pitcher. This excitement, this crowd.
Still 0-2.
Yeah, with the way this team is going, We've mentioned the fact they sold 500,000 tickets since Tulowitzki came to the team, but their television audience from coast to coast has really risen. From Newfoundland all the way to Vancouver, British Columbia.
Still 0-2. He likes pitching here. 10 games he started here. He's 8-0. And the 0-2. Strike three. Gardner down looking. No runs, a hit, no errors, one man left at the end of 6.5. It's time for the 7th-inning stretch. Brought to you by your local Nissan dealer. 3 runs on 4 hits for the Blue Jays. Yankees cannot score a run despite 8 hits. Tulowitzki, Bautista, and Encarnacion, each with an RBI in that 3rd inning. Price has gone 7. Nova has gone 6 and pitched very, very well again, other than that 3rd inning. So we start at the bottom of the 7th, and it'll be the bottom 3rd of the order for the Blue Jays, starting with Ryan Goins. 1-0. Pitch count in good shape. Grounded to Gregorius. Strong arm. 1 away. We go back to Bob Lorenz. He has another update. Robert. Here it's the bottom of the 7th with 1 out and Kevin Pillar due up. "33 straight scoreless innings for the Yankees against the Blue Jays. And Price has 14 straight scoreless innings against the Yanks.
They mentioned the Blue Jays in their prolific hitting. One of the hitters who hasn't really been swinging the bat all that well as Pilar, but he's playing a tremendous defense in center field. In fact, you have to go back to July 4th for his last home run, and it came off David Price. And Price is pitching for the Tigers. So he had his own little fireworks celebration on July 4th, but things have quieted down since then.
Ground ball to Gregorius. Low throw, but a backhanded scoop by Teixeira. Two-way Wednesday on Yes. New York City FC is on a special night as Villa, Pirlo, and Lampard lead the charge against the Columbus Crew. Watch New York City FC presented by Etihad Airways. It's Wednesday at 7:30, and it's right here on Yes.
Well, we talked about Nova and that hard sinker, and tonight there have only been 3 fly ball outs. Each outfielder's had 1. I'll make that 4. There was a sacrifice fly by Encarnacion, so 4. But most of the outs are on the ground.
Ben Revere, 1 for 2. One and 0. There's a strike.
Now watch Revere hit. It kind of amazes me that nobody's tried to change his style of hitting, but I think it was either last year or the year before he led the National League in hits with the Philadelphia Phillies. So I guess, you know, if you could stand on your head and still hit, they'd let you do it.
It's almost like they used to do back in the 30s. Just look at some of the old videos of Lou Gehrig. Some of the old time hitters had a big hitch like that.
The pitchers are starting to wind up, and so would the hitters.
Yeah.
Crowd of 46,689, a sellout here at Rogers Center. 3-1. Strike 3-2. That gets by McCann as Revere with a 2-out walk. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees.
The first walk allowed by Nova tonight, and that'll send Girardi to the phone.
Here's Tulowitzki. 1-0. Tulowitzki, as Larry Rothschild comes out, was traded from the Rockies, and one of the players that went to Colorado was Jose Reyes. That made the salaries work. And there are a couple of stories out today that Reyes has gotten through waivers and that the Yankees might be a team that's interested. Brian Cashman's actually here with the team, and he said that that is not the case. He said we have a shortstop. He was asked about maybe Reyes playing second base. He did not really bite on that, but he just said we very happy with the shortstop we have.
Yeah, I think the idea was maybe could Reyes move over and play second base.
Right.
And Brian Cashman gave him sort of a vote of confidence to Stephen Drew, who had a great night last night and has played very good defense. Not in the lineup tonight against the lefty Price.
And there is some history of Reyes moving to second. He did that with the Mets when they got Kazmatsui. That one's blooped into left field, and it's going to fall in there for a base hit. So Tulowitzki with a bloop single.
That was a good pitch. As David said, running that sinker in on the hands. Tulowitzki doesn't get much of it, then just enough to get it over the shortstop Gregorius and in front of Gardner. Those are the kind that hurt when you hit them, but really don't when you're at first base.
Right. And it was just elevated enough, even though it had excellent movement and was probably not even a strike off the plate, but just the elevation allowed Tulowitzki to fight it off and get it over the infield.
A little curious that the pitcher warming for the Yankees right now in the 7th inning of a 3-0 game is Chris Capuano. So here's Donaldson, who is 1 for 3. And if you remember the time that Nova made the mistake on Smoke back in New York, over 100 pitches, starting to get a little fatigued, hung a breaking ball, but they're trying to get him through this inning.
Yeah, it's, I was thinking the exact same thing in his previous start.
Two and 0.
And no matter what happens here with Donaldson at the plate, I agree with Michael. I don't see Capuano coming in to face Bautista or Encarnacion. And Smoke's a switch hitter.
Rounded to third. And they're going to say foul ball. Whoa. Andy Fletcher, the home plate umpire, said foul ball. And here comes Joe Girardi.
Well, before the ball gets to the third base bag, it's the home plate umpire's call. And we'll take another look here. Headley's trying to catch the ball, step on the third base bag at the same time.
Oh, I think that's a fair ball.
That's a fair ball. I didn't even get a better look at it here. Here's the high chop. Headley's trying to keep his foot on the bag and catch the ball at the same time. His momentum is carrying him away from the third base bag once he makes this play.
Wow. And you see the home plate umpire with the hands up, signaling foul. Now, play in front of the bag cannot be reviewed. That's why the Yankees can't say, listen, we want to challenge. Anything in front of the bag is non-reviewable.
And it's where the ball is in the air, not on the ground. So that judgment was that on that last hop, it just veered barely into foul territory, according to that guy's judgment.
Well, he was standing on the line. The camera was a little offline. So his is a call that counts. To me, that looks pretty fair.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on, 3-0 Toronto, bottom of the 7th. A big pitch for Nova. Grounded to Gregorius across the diamond, and Nova has pitched 7 very good innings for the Yankees. No runs ahead, 2 men left. We go to the 8th.
Yankees, amazing things are happening here. And here's a look at that play. The home plate umpire, Andy Fletcher, is going to say this is a foul ball. Well, no harm, no foul. The Yankees got out of the jam. Fletcher, you can see him throwing his hands up. Said it was foul. Headley thought it was a fair ball.
Part of the Yankee order, starting with A-Rod, leads off the 8th. Price still in there. He deals a strike. Hyundai scoreboard 3-0 Toronto. High fly ball, center field, Pilar. One down. On the road traveling, want to watch your Yankees? Subscribe to MLB.tv Premium for live or on-demand games on over 400 devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Here's Teixeira 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts against Price. And a strike. Grounded up the middle and past Tulowitzki, a base hit. Looked like Tulowitzki would be able to grab it. He did not. So a single for Teixeira.
Here's a look, and Tulowitzki's effort couldn't quite get the glove down. And the ball gets through for the base hit. Let's see if did he step on his glove? No, he didn't.
You can almost see that ball snaking out there. That was the 3rd bounce that got Tulowitzki, and very unpredictable bounces on this turf.
On the previous turf here, there would have been no chance for him to get that. He used to shoot through the middle and the center.
Here's Brian McCann. Pitch inside. Yankees now have double-barreled action in the bullpen, a lefty and a righty. Trying to get the glasses on them. And so you still have Capuano and now Warren. Aaron Sanchez is up in the Jays bullpen.
Yeah, the only way you can explain that, Michael, I know we were sort of curious as to why Capuano was up last inning, is that Girardi was probably just going to ride Nova out, and if the Blue Jays blew it out, then Capuano's sort of in the mop-up role. And similar here. If the Yankees can score some runs, Warren's in the game. If not, probably Capuano, even though it's only 3 runs at this point.
1-1. And there's Sanchez. Just missed inside, just missed McCann. 2-1. You can see Price has not lost anything on the fastball. 94 miles an hour there on his 108th pitch. Price's season high in pitches is 121.
May 31st against the Angels in Anaheim.
1 on, 1 out. Headley's on deck. Two. Lined into left field. It is a base hit in front of Revere. 2 straight singles for the Yankees, and that brings up Headley as the tying run.
And the 10th hit for the Yankees. It's pretty hard to get 10 hits and not score a run, but that is the definition of scattering them. But Yankees in business, 1st and 2nd and 1 out.
Yeah, one of the problems for the Yankees, David Price hasn't compounded those 10 hits. He hadn't walked anybody. And usually when you walk people, then you have to regain the strike zone. Then you throw pitches that are fatter and easier to hit.
Headley is 2 for 3 against Price. There's a strike. Yankees hitless in 5 chances with runners in scoring position. There was a hope that yesterday's outburst against the Indians had snapped them out of their offensive malaise, but 7 shutout innings later, they need a big hit here in the 8th. Fastball outside.
This might be Price's last man, but John Gibbons has to figure if he goes to Sanchez out of the bullpen, Sanchez will be facing Carlos Beltran and not Chris Young.
That's a great point.
Yeah, he's got to figure, well, do I stay with Price? You know, he's a veteran pitcher. He can throw a lot of pitches. He's got a hard thrower down the bullpen. He'll get Young out of the game, but he might get Beltran into the game.
That one is drilled into left center field. That's trouble. It's in there, and it bounces over the wall. Yankees get a tough break because 2 would have scored there. But the way it is, it's a double. Teixeira scores, and the Yankees have runners on 2nd and 3rd, and they break through with a run. It's 3-1 Toronto. 3rd hit of the night for Headley. And John Gibbons is going to take the ball from the ace. Well, the sellout crowd is going to give Price an ovation. And now Gibbons is going to ask his bullpen to save this game. So Gibbons makes the Verizon call to the bullpen. Beltran comes in with an 8-game hitting streak. He's 4 for 11 so far on the road trip. Sanchez is shuttled between starting and relieving. You see his numbers. Perhaps too many walks for his liking.
Now, last year he worked out of the bullpen. This year they moved him into the rotation. Since coming off the disabled list, he's been strictly a reliever, and he's done the job.
A lot of people think that was the key for the Blue Jays bullpen, was getting Sanchez back down in the pen and out of the rotation.
Gets the fastball by Beltran.
Yeah, hitters are just 2 for 30 since he's come off the DL and worked out of the pen.
Infield is bat. A ground ball would make it 3-2. Yankees hoping for more. Remember, Bautista has an outstanding arm in right. Oh, 2.
Now you saw why the Blue Jays like this young man. That fastball, 97 miles an hour. There's Brett Cecil, who's been closing. Cecil been closing some, but the closer now is the youngster, Roberto Osuna. It's interesting. Osuna's 20 years old, and they recently picked up LaTroy Hawkins, who's more than twice his age.
McCann off third. Headley the tying run off second. One man out in the 8th. The 1-2. That one is drilled deep to right field. Going back, Bautista looking up. See ya! A pinch hit. 3-run home run for Carlos Beltran. A huge blow for the Yankees, and they lead this game 4-3. Oh, did Beltran crush that? That's about as big a hit as the Yankees have had all year.
Well, Sanchez blew the first 2 right on by him, and he tried to heat him up one more time. And it was right down the chute that Beltran jumped all over it. His first pinch hit of the year in 4 tries.
A huge blow for the Yankees, who had been offensively dormant, and now a 4 spot here in the 8th.
Let's watch the pitch right there. Beltran wouldn't have it that 3rd time, and he knew he got it too. He's hit enough of them.
That one's grounded up the middle and grabbed by Tulowitzki. Throws to first, not in time. Infield single for Gregorius.
Well, it took a long time, but the Yankees finally punched back after getting punched in the mouth in the Bronx and shut out here for the better part of 8 innings. That man with a counterpunch, and a big one.
He turns around a 97-mile-an-hour fastball and simply crushes it.
Well, it was supposed to be a day off for Beltran. He might turn out to be the hero in his only chance.
Broken back, ground ball to Tulowitzki. There's one on to first. It's a double play. But do you want to know how to silence a crowd of under 47,000? You drill a 3-run, go-ahead home run off the bench. Beltran did it. Have you tried great tasting 5-hour energy lately? By People's United Bank NA. The way you bank, but way better. And by your Tri-Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on the 2015 models. A beautiful night here in Toronto. It just got nice for the Yankees as they finally awakened thanks to that man. Carlos Beltran started the game on the bench. Despite an 8-game hitting streak, he pinch hit for Chris Young against the hard-throwing youngster Aaron Sanchez, and he connected with a 3-run pinch hit home run to give the Yankees a 4-3 lead, and now they will go to Dellin Betances in relief of Ivan Nova.
In case you were wondering, Dellin threw 29 pitches last night. An inning and a third with a little bit of effort.
Now sometimes you get saves in the 8th inning. You've got Bautista, Encarnacion, and Smoke coming on in the 8th. The Hyundai scoreboard, 4-3 Yankees. Bautista 1 for 3.
David, we're getting to the dog days, and Michael, the thing about it, you have to reach back for a little extra. You have to get your second, third win sometimes during the course of a baseball season. You mentioned Betances threw 29 pitches last night. You have to reach back for a little extra tonight. Each game is an individual ball game. Winning streaks are are made from individual ball games. 5-game winning streak, 5 individual wins. The Blue Jays 11 wins in a row. Each game was different than the one previous.
The 0-1. 99 miles an hour. Strike 2. The 0-2. Swing and a miss on the breaking ball. And Bautista tagged out by McCann.
Good pitch.
Well, let's go back to what is turning out to be the biggest home run of the year. Up and out of the zone at 97. Chasing once again up and out of the zone. Not even close to a strike. A little bit higher. Going to try it again. Didn't get it up there. Left that one down around belt high. And as you say, Kenny, the ball's at the belt. Get belted.
Encarnacion takes a breaking ball low and away.
Belted by Beltran.
He's done it enough. Let's put it that way.
Broken bat, looper in the center, but right there is Ellsbury to make the play. 2 down.
I'll tell you what, I watched last night's game, and it looks to me that Betances is throwing better than he did last night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Must have got the rough edges worn off last night. Now he's ready to go.
His breaking ball has severe bite on it. And this one's headed for the end of the bat.
See, Encarnacion still letting go of that bat on his follow through. Obviously, just a little bit of issue with that finger.
Smoke, swing and a miss. Two outs, bottom of the 8th, 4-3 Yankees. That one is drilled deep to right center. Ellsbury back, still back, and he makes the play on the warning track for the final out. Smoke absolutely smoked it, but Ellsbury ran it down. A 1-2-3 inning, and we take it to the 9th. Skipper breaks down the American League East after this big series with the Blue Jays. Plus, get your questions answered via Twitter. It's all new Sunday, 5 p.m. only on Yes. This game, although it's just August 14th, definitely has a playoff vibe about it. There's an energy and electricity in this park. Obviously, the Blue Jays are riding an 11-game winning streak. Yankees looking for some retribution after getting swept in the Bronx last weekend. There's a real feel to this game.
There is, and there's going to be 9 more between these two teams as we get down to the end of the regular season. The Yankees come back here next month for a 3-game series. And the Blue Jays have a 4-game series in the Bronx next month.
All three of us looked at each other when that smoke drive did not go out of the ballpark. This is a pretty good hitter's ballpark for home runs, and he crushed it, but looked like it hit an invisible wall out there.
Yeah, had that sound, very loud.
You know, sometimes when balls hit, like, you watch the outfielder. The outfielder will tell you whether he has a chance. And Ellsbury was going after that all the way like he had a chance. So I didn't think he quite got hit it well, but he didn't get all of it. Maybe not quite on the sweet spot.
That one is drilled to right, but Bautista's right there. One away.
And it was also in the middle of the field towards center was this swing. So the deepest part of the park.
Barely to the warning track. Maybe the rise of the crowd, too. You know, let's see. Maybe just a little down on the bat, Michael. You see what I mean? Not quite up on the sweet spot. Had a good swing at it, though, right down the middle.
Great shot right there.
Oh, beautiful. Mentioned that Cecil had been closing somewhat during the year. He has 5 saves, but they'd had problems finding it. Osuna was doing it for a while. They had the young kid Castro doing it for a while at the beginning of the year. He was used in a trade. So now it's Osuna. Well, the youngest pitchers in baseball, just 20.
Yeah, Osuna, the youngest player in baseball, and Severino, who will start Sunday, the youngest pitcher to start a game this year in MLB.
Grounded to second. Gardner's down. Well, as promised earlier in the game, we've selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag YesDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Got a Teixeira fan as he comes out on deck. T-Murph Mom. 3 Teixeira fans. So Cecil will deal with A-Rod. Oh. If you want to look ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, Andrew Miller will come on. And the hitters due up: Russell Martin, Ryan Goins, and Kevin Pillar.
I really thought it was a big blow for Toronto to lose Devin Travis. One a really good-looking young rookie. Started out the year so well, but Goins has done a good job as his replacement.
2-1.
That was the look the Yankees had last weekend in the Bronx.
2-2.
Yeah, you saw Price there, and we mentioned at the beginning of the game that when you face the big pitchers, and we mentioned this with Felix Hernandez, the game at the Bronx, that you don't necessarily beat them. You get them out of the game, and then you go to work on the bullpen, and that's what happened very quickly tonight.
A-Rod held his breath. Might have been a called third strike, but Andy Fletcher said hi.
Hello.
See, Alex is calling it. Watch his hand. Looks at the umpire and helps him out a little bit. Up.
Here's the payoff. Strike three. A-Rod down looking. And he has some words for Fletcher. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Can Miller hold on? Bob Lorenz and Jack Curry recap tonight's series opener, plus Meredith Morakovitz get the players' thoughts from the clubhouse. It's all coming up on the WB Mason Yankees postgame, only on Yes. So the Blue Jays trying to extend their winning streak to 12 straight, and the Yankees trying to extinguish that 11-game streak by bringing in Andrew Miller. Now, truth be told, since coming up the DL, he has not been as dominant. Blew his first save in that 16-inning game, but he has been very, very good. Can he hold down the Blue Jays and protect this one-run lead in the bottom of the ninth? He's been a little bit stomach churning of late. And here's Russell Martin against Andrew Miller. Strike. Oh, and 2. Martin is 0 for 3 tonight. Strikeout, fly ball to right, ground ball to third. The 0-2. Fly ball shallow left. Gardner, 1 out. Here's a bit of an eye-opening statistical blip. According to BaseballSavant.com, Carlos Beltran's home run, which was just gigantic, and it's the difference in the game right now, that was his first home run on a pitch of 97 or more miles per hour since August 9th of 2008 off Matt Lindstrom. 7 years. They saved it for when it counted. Chris Colabello pinch hits for Goins. Colabello's had a very good year for the Blue Jays. 324, 11 home runs, and 45 runs batted in. Two 2-0 on Colabello. He steps out. There's a strike on the inside corner. Colabello thought it was ball 3. It's 2-1. On deck is Pilar.
Not giving in. 2-0 slider. Sweeping. Shaving the front edge.
Did he hold up? No, he did not. 2-2. Jordan Baker said he went around.
And from my vantage point, I thought he went around too. And we'll take another look at it. Yeah, he got out there too far. And he's shaking his head no, but the man that counts is at first base umpire.
Miller from the third base side of the rubber deals the 2-2, just missed outside with the fastball.
He thought he had it.
Maybe one of the best fastballs that Miller's thrown since coming off the DL. 96 miles an hour right to the glove. Hit the target. You expect to get it. Sometimes umpires get fooled too.
Sellout crowd comes to its feet. And Colabello steps out. Still 3-2.
Miller's got that ability, and we saw in the first half of the year when he was on such a run to really add to his fastball. He really reaches back and gets on top of it when he wants to add velocity, as we saw on that 2-2 pitch.
Ivan Nova 7 for the Yankees. Betances pitched the 8th. Miller trying to get 3 outs in the 9th, the 3-2. And he walks Colabello. And the tying runs on base. And they will send out a pinch runner.
That's Cliff Pennington. Going to run for Colabello.
So tough at bat for Colabello as he works a walk, and here's Kevin Pillar. Headley about even with the bag at third, 5 feet off the line. Teixeira holds on Pennington at first. 1 man out, bottom of the 9th, 4-3 Yanks. Swings over breaking ball, 0-1.
You look at the middle infielders for the Yankees. Now, there is double play depth and there is double play depth. They're not quite as pinched to the middle as usual because they want to get at least one out and make sure a ball doesn't get past them into the outfield.
And that's past a diving Gregorius for a base hit as Ellsbury flips the ball in. First and second, one man out for the Blue Jays.
If they're playing a normal double play depth, that ball might have been two. But they're trying to make sure they get at least one. This ball's hit pretty hard by Pilar. 1-2 quick hops. It's into the outfield for a base hit.
Well, now the tying run's at second base, and the winning run is at first base. The number 9 hitter, Ben Revere, is up. He's 1 for 2. He singled and walked. The walk was in the 7th inning.
The only player left on the bench is Gianna Navarro. He's a switch-hitting catcher, the backup catcher.
Blue Jays are showing they're not gonna let an 11-game streak go down easy.
And the pitch. And that gets past McCann, and the runners move up. Second and third, one out.
McCann setting up away. He just got handcuffed. Not sure if he got crossed up there or not. It looked like possibly he did. Maybe looking fastball away and gets a slider, gets handcuffed.
Yankees have to bring the infield in with the tying run at third, the winning run at second. The outfield comes in as well. Isn't that a little dangerous to bring the outfield in? What if it's a long fly ball? It's just be the second out to be a tie game.
That's true, but they want to make sure they have a play at the plate on a base hit with Pilar at second. Because he represents the winning run.
I definitely get what that is, but you're giving up the long fly ball to win the game, which would be the second out in a tie game. So they're choosing to cut that and run it down at second. One and two. We told you it's been stomach churning time with Andrew Miller of late, and boy, around the country, those that are Yankee fans, their stomachs are churning right now as they inch forward on the couch or the chair.
Yeah, the problem for me here is not so much Revere, who, I think he can handle the fact that the lineup's going to turn over and better hitters are coming up.
The 1-2. He struck him out. A big strikeout for Andrew Miller. And now one out away.
Well, this is getting tough after a huge mistake. And McCann, wow, picking a ball in the dirt. In that situation, gutsy. I think they were also thinking that Ben Revere doesn't have a lot of power, so taking a chance and playing the outfield in. But I agree with you. At first, it was a little curious, but now it's irrelevant as Troy Tulowitzki's got a chance here.
Forward bats against Miller. Nothing doing there. Yankee defense backs up with 2 outs. Remember, breaking pitch is a big part of the arsenal. McCann has to keep it in front of him. And there's a strike.
By the way, Revere is one of the toughest hitters in the league to strike out. He's only struck out 4 times since he's come to the Blue Jays. And Miller got him.
Second and third, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. Yankees lead this one 4-3. Fastball outside, 1-1.
Well, I would say this sellout Blue Jay crowd is getting their money's worth here as well as anybody watching this. And once again, probably a good idea that McCann and Miller get on the same page here with multiple signs, because they've already had one cross up this inning that was very costly. So be sure you know what's coming.
Miller sets the 1-1. 1-2 on Tulowitzki. Tulowitzki, one of the big acquisitions for the Blue Jays. They have gone 13-0 with him in the starting lineup. And here he is with the ability to make it 14-0 or have the streak end.
This is why you bat Tulowitzki leadoff, so he can get the extra at bat right here in this situation in the ninth.
And the 1-2. Foul back, stays alive. Miller takes a stroll. Think about things. So much riding on each and every pitch for the Yankees. And for the Blue Jays. Almost everyone in the crowd standing. One-two. Still 1-2.
Old school traditional leadoff hitters were speedsters, right, Michael? Yeah, Tulowitzki doesn't fit that profile, but if you think about it, you only lead off once a game. You know, we've said that and made that point. But the first guy to get the fifth at bat tonight, and really in 3 out of the 4 games the Yankees have played against the Blue Jays, this situation has happened where Tulowitzki has come up in an important situation. And he's the only one right now, if the game ends, that will get the fifth at bat in the Blue Jays lineup.
Runners on second and third. Yankees lead by 1. Bottom of the ninth. 1-2 on Tulowitzki. Missed outside with a fastball.
And before the game, talking to John Gibbons, he said one of the reasons he batted him leadoff is so he can get one of his better hitters up there more often.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. Yankees lead 4-3. Bottom of the ninth inning. Their closer, Andrew Miller, on the mound. And the pitch. Line foul. This building is waiting to explode or just be totally deflated. This matchup might decide it, and they want to get it right. You've got Pennington at third, Pilar at second. Yankees scored 4 runs in the 8th inning to take the lead. The big blow, a 3-run pinch hit home run by Carlos Beltran.
Miller and McCann need a walkie-talkie this inning.
The 2-2. Outside 3-2. On deck, Josh Donaldson. Here's the payoff. Just got a piece to stay alive. Every pitch talked about, debated, just to make sure. This will be the 10th pitch of this at bat.
25 pitches this inning and 10 of them to Tulowitzki trying to get the final out.
You almost have to go back to the fastball at this point after those sliders and Tulowitzki fighting them off. First base is open though.
3-2. Grounded foul.
Another slider, another foul ball. Josh Donaldson on deck. Almost in the umpire's hip pocket, trying to get a look. Very close.
3-2.
Yeah, you think of all the years that Tulowitzki was with the Colorado Rockies. He hadn't played as many games like this one with so much on the line for the Rockies over the years. I know they had a couple of good years while he was there, but this is something different altogether for him.
Little cat and mouse as Tulowitzki steps out, then Miller takes a walk.
This battle is as good as it gets.
And the 3-2. He struck him out, and the Yankees win 4-3. They snap the Blue Jays' 11-game winning streak, and it is a big, big, big win for the Yanks. Thanks to that guy, Carlos Beltran's 3-run pinch hit home run. And just like that, 11 straight wins. And David, this win puts the Yankees back in first place.
Indeed it does. And more importantly, the Yankees swung back after getting swept in the Bronx. And we've talked about it. The Yankees punched back.
All right, David, we're going to put you to work now. Do the pitch by pitch if you have enough breath left.
I do. I guess wrong myself, but Troy Tulowitzki, as good as it gets the call on borderline down and in. Doesn't get the call borderline away. Good sliders down and in. Going to see a lot of those. Another one, Tulowitzki out in front of it. Steady diet right there on his fist. Tries to go away, misses.